Imagine building a road today and people are still using its route 2000 years from now. Sounds impossible. Yet, across parts of Europe, roads built by the Romans or routes first established by them still shape how people travel today. So, how did an ancient civilization without excavators, asphalt, or modern surveying equipment build such remarkable roads? The answer wasn't one secret material, it was engineering. As Rome expanded, it faced an enormous logistical problem. An empire stretching across vast distances needed to move soldiers, messages, supplies, and officials quickly. A powerful army wasn't enough. Rome needed something connecting the empire together: roads. Roads became part of the infrastructure that allowed Rome to control territory, communicate, and trade across enormous distances. But before construction began, Roman engineers had another challenge. Where should the road go? Surveyors planned routes carefully. Roman roads are famous for being straight, and they often were remarkably direct. But the Romans weren't blindly obsessed with straight lines. Mountains, rivers, marshes, and steep terrain could force engineers to change the route. The goal was efficiency, and once the route was decided, construction could begin. Now comes the clever part. What you saw on the surface was only part of the road. Roman road construction varied enormously depending on the location and materials available. But major engineered roads could begin with prepared ground and a raised road body. Stone, gravel, and other local materials were placed and compacted to create a strong foundation. Larger material could support the structure below, while smaller gravel created a harder traveling surface above. On prestigious urban or major routes, stone paving could form the visible surface. In soft or marshy ground, engineers sometimes even used timber or brushwood beneath the road, instead of forcing exactly the same design everywhere. Roman engineers adapted the road to the ground beneath it, but strong foundations alone weren't enough, because roads have an enemy: water. Rainwater can soften the ground beneath a road, wash material away, and gradually destroy the structure. Roman engineers understood the practical solution: get the water away. Roads could be raised above the surrounding ground with a slightly curved or sloping surface, helping rainwater run toward the sides. Ditches and drainage channels then carried that water away. Simple idea. Huge difference. Keeping roads direct created another problem. Nature doesn't build itself in straight lines. Valleys, rivers, forests, rock, and marshes stood in the way. Roman engineers cut through terrain, built embankments, drained wet ground, and constructed bridges where necessary. In difficult landscapes, building the road could become an enormous engineering project of its own, and they did it. Without modern machinery, and Rome didn't think only about the road surface. Major routes became part of a transportation system. Milestones marked distances. Travelers could find stopping places along important routes. Messages could move through the imperial communications network. Soldiers marched. Merchants transported goods. Officials traveled between cities. The road wasn't simply infrastructure, it was the network connecting the Roman world. One road became more famous than almost any other: the Via Appia, the Appian Way. Construction began in 312 BC. It originally connected Rome with Capua and was later extended farther south. More than 2,000 years later, sections of the route can still be walked today. It's a remarkable physical link between modern Europe and the Roman Republic. But there's an important detail. The idea that every Roman road has simply sat untouched for 2,000 years isn't true. Roman roads differed enormously in construction. Many were repaired, resurfaced, altered, or eventually disappeared. And many modern roads follow ancient Roman routes rather than driving directly on the original Roman surface. What survived was often something even more important: the engineering logic of the network itself. So, why have Roman roads left such an extraordinary legacy? There wasn't one magical Roman formula. It was a combination of ideas: careful surveying, strong foundations, local materials, raised construction, effective drainage, and adaptation to the terrain. Individually, none sounds revolutionary. Together, they created infrastructure capable of serving generations. Rome built roads to connect an empire. 2,000 years later, those roads are still teaching us something. Great engineering isn't always about making something complicated. Sometimes it's about getting the fundamentals right. This is what in wisdom, powering curious minds.